The conflict in Gaza has created a dire humanitarian crisis. Israeli forces have launched numerous attacks. These attacks have resulted in a large number of civilian casualties. Hospitals are struggling to cope with the influx of wounded. Medical supplies are running dangerously low. The people of Gaza are facing a desperate situation. The continuous bombardments have made it unsafe for aid organizations to operate effectively. Essential supplies are not reaching those in need. Food, water, and medicine are in short supply. The infrastructure of Gaza is on the verge of collapse. The international community must act swiftly to alleviate the suffering. The United Nations has issued urgent appeals for a ceasefire. They are calling for humanitarian corridors to be established. These corridors would allow for the safe passage of aid and medical personnel. The safety and well-being of civilians must be paramount. The situation in Gaza is a tragedy unfolding before our eyes. The world cannot stand idly by. We must demand an end to the violence. We must provide immediate humanitarian assistance. The lives of innocent men, women, and children are at stake. The conflict has also brought devastation to Lebanon. Nabatea, a city in southern Lebanon, has been particularly hard hit. Israeli airstrikes have targeted areas in and around the city. The attacks have caused widespread destruction. Homes, businesses, and infrastructure have been reduced to rubble. The people of Nabatea are living in fear. Many have fled their homes. They're seeking refuge in shelters or in safer areas. The constant threat of airstrikes makes it dangerous to venture outside. The situation is taking a heavy toll on the civilian population. The Lebanese government has condemned the Israeli attacks. They have called for an immediate ceasefire. They are appealing for international support to help deal with the humanitarian crisis. The situation in Nabatea is a stark reminder of the human cost of this conflict. The conflict has also seen attacks on religious sites. In a shocking incident, a 100-year-old mosque in Nabatea was bombed. The mosque, a place of worship and community gathering, was reduced to rubble. The attack caused outrage and condemnation from around the world. The bombing of the mosque is a blatant attack on cultural heritage. It is a violation of international law. Places of worship should be sanctuaries, not targets. This act of destruction has deepened the sense of anger and despair among the affected communities. The attack on the mosque underscores the need for restraint and respect for religious sites. It is a reminder that even in times of conflict, certain lines should never be crossed. The international community must hold those responsible accountable for their actions. The conflict has also escalated between Israel and Hezbollah. Hezbollah, a Shiite militant group based in Lebanon, has engaged in fierce battles with Israeli forces along the border. Both sides have exchanged heavy artillery fire. The fighting has resulted in casualties on both sides. Israel has launched airstrikes against Hezbollah positions in Lebanon. They have targeted what they claim are weapons depots and command centers. Hezbollah, in turn, has fired rockets into Israel. The escalating violence has raised fears of a wider regional conflict. The international community has called for calm and restraint. They are urging both sides to de-escalate the situation. The focus should be on finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. Further violence will only lead to more suffering and instability. Section 5, Palestinian casualties and the UN's famine warning. The human cost of the conflict in Gaza is staggering. The Palestinian Ministry of Health has reported a high number of casualties. Thousands of Palestinians have been killed, including many women and children. The numbers continue to rise with each passing day. Hospitals in Gaza are overwhelmed. They are struggling to cope with the influx of casualties. Medical supplies are running dangerously low. The situation is dire. The international community must provide immediate medical assistance to save lives. The United Nations has issued a stark warning. They say that northern Gaza is on the brink of famine. Food supplies are dwindling. The ongoing conflict is making it extremely difficult to get aid into the region. The situation is critical. Section 6, Israel's expulsion strategy. The conflict has raised serious concerns about Israel's intentions. Hassan Barari, a prominent political analyst, has commented on Israel's strategy. He believes that Israel is attempting to expel Palestinians from Gaza and the occupied West Bank. He sees this as a dangerous and unacceptable escalation of the conflict. Barari argues that Israel's actions are part of a long-standing policy. He believes that Israel is seeking to create a Jewish-only state. This policy, he says, is the root cause of the ongoing conflict. It is a policy that must be challenged and reversed. Barari's analysis has sparked debate and discussion. Some agree with his assessment of Israel's intentions, others believe that it is too simplistic. Regardless of one's views, it is clear that the current conflict has far-reaching implications. Section 7. The global response. The international community has responded to the conflict with a mix of condemnation and calls for peace. Many countries have condemned the violence. They have called for an immediate ceasefire. They have urged both sides to engage in dialogue. Some countries have provided humanitarian aid. They have sent medical supplies and other essential goods to the region. They have also provided financial assistance to support relief efforts. However, much more needs to be done. The conflict has exposed divisions within the international community. Some countries have been reluctant to criticize Israel. They have cited Israel's right to self-defense. Others have argued that Israel's response has been disproportionate. Section 8. The importance of dialogue. Amidst the violence and destruction, it is crucial to remember the importance of dialogue. A lasting peace can only be achieved through negotiations. Both sides must be willing to come to the table. They must be prepared to compromise. Dialogue will not be easy. There's a lot of mistrust and animosity between the two sides. Years of conflict have left deep scars. However, it is the only way forward. The alternative is more violence and suffering. The international community has a vital role to play in facilitating dialogue. They can provide a neutral platform for talks. They can help to build trust between the two sides. They can also provide incentives for peace. Section 9. The future of the region. The current conflict has cast a shadow over the future of the region. The violence has exacerbated existing tensions. It has made it even more difficult to find a path to peace. The stakes are high. The outcome of the conflict will have far-reaching consequences. It will shape the lives of millions of people. It will also have implications for regional stability and security. The world is watching closely. The international community must remain engaged. They cannot afford to turn away. They must work together to find a just and lasting solution to the conflict. The future of the region depends on it. Section 10. The need for peace. The conflict in Gaza and Lebanon is a stark reminder of the human cost of war. Thousands of innocent people have lost their lives. Countless others have been injured or displaced. The destruction is immeasurable. The cycle of violence must end. Both sides must choose the path of peace. They must lay down their arms and engage in dialogue. The international community must support these efforts. Peace is not a distant dream, it is a necessity. It is the only way to ensure a brighter future for the region. It is time for leaders on all sides to show courage and vision. Section 11. A call for action. We cannot remain silent in the face of such suffering. We must raise our voices and demand an end to the violence. We must call on our leaders to take action. We must show our solidarity with the people of Gaza and Lebanon. We can donate to humanitarian organizations providing aid to the region. We can contact our elected officials and urge them to support a ceasefire. We can educate ourselves and others about the conflict. Every action counts. Every voice matters. Together we can make a difference. Let us stand united for peace in Gaza and Lebanon.